Hi, everyone. Carmen Dinisco here, live at the UIA Educational Series. We are on number 24, and we're having some great success. The speakers we have are awesome. The experts coming on. I mean, you can't beat this stuff. Let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Warren Tuttle. Warren, what's going on, my friend?
Hi, Carmine. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Dude, I've been excited and psyched about this show today.
I know we got it. We got an awesome show. But before we get to it, I just want you to know we have another foot of snow up here in Connecticut, and I'm getting completely sick and tired. I'm headed to Clearwater soon.
Snow? That stuff still happens? I thought that was a myth.
It's a disaster. Disaster winter.
We have
an awesome show.
Our guest doesn't get snow.
No. She's in LA. We're going to get to that in a second. But thank God I'm back. I know we've had some guest hosts, so it's good that I'm back, right?
Yeah, no doubt. What's been happening, man? I know you got your book. You're on like a book tour already.
Yeah, I just did a podcast right before this, but we've got the book coming out on March 23rd, Inventor Confidential, and it's on Amazon, available on Amazon, inventorconfidential.com. And just a lot of great stuff going on. So just got renewed awesome. Another year with Lifetime Brands for their Open Innovation Program, and 15th straight year. So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. That's in this industry, 15 years is a long time in the invention world.
Yeah, it is. But I brought them a lot of business, so everybody's happy. But listen, Carl, we have this is going to be the best show ever today. And I'm really excited. For those who have seen the social media posts and the advertisements and have seen the name Sarah Gibson Tuttle and wondered if there's some relation, Sarah's my niece. And I'm really proud to, she lives in Los Angeles, and I'm really proud to bring Sarah on the show. So Sarah, how you doing?
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. I'm also your goddaughter.
Oh, did you just say that? Really?
Yeah.
That was going to be my opening question.
He's throwing the first shot at you.
So, Carmen, just to fill in our audience, when Sarah was about 4 years old, I was driving her somewhere, and I asked her if she knew who her godfather was. And what was the answer? I think, Sarah, it was.
I think I named every single person but you.
Yeah, but I'm thinking back now that you were smarter than the average 4-year-old, and that actually you were goofing on me, and you knew all along it was me.
I think that might have been true.
But then I have a backup story too. Do you remember the time at McDonald's when you got shaked?
Yeah, I do.
Can you tell that story?
I was drinking a milkshake, and I wanted to get the bottom of it, the last little bit of milkshake, because I was smart, obviously, as aforementioned. And I was basically shaking the cup to my face, and it went all over me.
Oh, it was so cute. She had chocolate milkshake. And then all of a sudden she just goes, I got shaked. It was one of the great family lines of all time. But hey, Sarah, it's so good to see you. And, for our audience, I live in Connecticut. Sarah lives in California. Her parents I've known for, obviously my brother is my older brother, and very, very close. Your Sarah's mom, I won't repeat the story of how I first met your mom, but it was in college. So
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know, but for a long time.
I want to know, but probably not on here.
But they're really special people, and we're really close family. And so it's so exciting when Sarah, we're going to go into your background now, Sarah, really, got into her own business and doing some great things. But thought, Sarah, we would start where we usually do with ask you to go back, as far as you want, maybe after college to Wall Street, or how your career got started, and just spend a few minutes telling how you, started Olive and June. If you could just get us up to the present a little bit.
Well, probably I can take you back farther than that, because I can take you back to when you hired my brother and wouldn't hire me at your kitchen store, and I was so dying to work.
That was hold on. That was the Dombier ice cream maker. We needed a demo. And yeah, I think Jason was old enough to get on the train and you weren't, but yes.
And I feel like now probably you'd be like, oh, let's bring the person who's actually invented something. But anyway, it's okay.
You would have sold so many more ice cream makers with you. You're absolutely right.
Jason saving lives in the ICU, so all good.
Yeah.
My background, I went to the same college as one of your daughters. I went to Colgate, and I graduated in 2002. I worked for 10 years as an equity sales trader at JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. So really covering hedge funds, speaking of GameStop, which is, a hearing that everyone is watching today. I'm sure you're not watching. I'm sure you stopped watching that to watch this. But I worked in the world, covering hedge funds for 10 years and being their equity sales trader. And I just really wanted to do something entrepreneurial. As you can see, there's a lot of entrepreneurial people in my family, in addition to Worry, or Wa, that's how I call you Warren on here. Both my parents have had entrepreneurial ventures, and I think in my heart I've always been entrepreneurial, and so I really want to do something different. And I started coming to LA. I loved it. I started going to Dry Bar, which, if anyone is familiar, it is a hair blowout bar. And I loved it. I thought what Allie, who's now a dear friend of mine, had done for blowouts, like that wasn't being done in nails. And I thought I should do this. I should do the Dry Bar for nails. And that's really where it started. It has become this bigger venture in really democratizing the salon manicure for people everywhere. We're now in the United States, but hopefully worldwide soon. And but it really started with this like love for Dry Bar, a love for what had made this like experience that I think had been pretty commoditized into this like lovely experience. And I wanted to do that in nails. So
you started you started with a retail location, right, in Beverly Hills,
Mm-hmm.
and started. Tell us a little bit about that, because and what's different and unique, because it's very high end, right?
Well, we think of it as affordable luxury. So our salons in LA, we had 3 before we had to close because of COVID, but our first salon was in Beverly Hills. So it was really about at first our manicure started at $20. So it really was in that like affordable luxury category, in between a manicure you get at a hotel or a manicure you kind of get at a corner shop. And the idea was that we were going to give you this $20 manicure with all these bells and whistles, just all this customer service. If you walk in, you feel like I'm at my best friend's house. We named it Olive and June after my grandmother, the other side of my family, the grandmother and great grandmother. And it was really like, it should feel really familial, but also feel as cool as your best friend's house. And all these polished colors and like your credit cards on file and like all the things that you would want. As someone aptly put it, they said, this is, like our version of Cheers. And I think that really resonated for people of like the kind of community that we were growing at Olive and June. And that location was up and running for about 2 years before we opened the second one in Pasadena, and then a third in Santa Monica.
Hey, just for a second now, and we want to get into what you're doing now, but as you grew that out to 2 and 3 locations, because I went through this kind of a similar experience, did you find you like had to reinvent it with the second one and third one? Were there synergies between it, or was just a lot of extra work for the second and third ones?
It's interesting. When I opened the second one, I thought this is the worst day of my life, because it was just so overwhelming to think there's 2. And I think it's probably similar to how people, I don't know how you have 3 kids, Bory, so I don't know if this is similar, but like you have a second kid and you're like, oh my goodness, this is like 18 times the amount of work. Yeah. By the time the third, I think I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that's, it's always done. But then by the time I opened the third, it was pretty like, I understood how to open another location. I understood there was going to be other screaming children. I understood like what that map was going to look like. Yeah. But opening a retail location is incredibly difficult, and it requires a ton of just love and attention. Yep. And I think that when we started running the products business, that's when it started getting really, really hard, because there wasn't enough real resource to run both. When COVID hit, obviously we closed, but I think it's incredibly hard for anyone who is thinking about how they want to build a business, like to do both. It's like 2 totally different businesses. So
let's talk about that. Yeah. But by the way, you're right about the kids thing, because the second one, you put them in a room across the hall. And the third one, you just put them at the end. You don't even, you're not even listening anymore. But
poor Kate.
Yeah, poor Kate. So just define that a little bit more. So you had the retail operation, obviously, probably pretty payroll heavy, right? Customer service, a lot of, and then you were getting into the products field. Can you just define those two ventures for everybody?
Yeah. So the 3 retail locations were nail salons, full service nail salons, mani pedi. That's all we did. All we did was nails. Every location had about 25 to 30 manicurists, plus a front desk team and a manager. And then you had a regional manager sitting on top of all 3. That's like the ideal world. Obviously, people were like moving, and like people quit. People like you're onboarding, and so it's a crazy world. But essentially, you had about 100 people employed to a 3-salon chain.
Wow.
So that's that business. We were seeing thousands of people every week in our salons. We had wait lists every day. Like that was an incredibly robust business, but not a super high margin business. A ton of attention needs to be paid to those businesses, and they don't kick off a ton. And there's months where you're losing money. So it's really about like, as in like a restaurant business, like making money certain months of the year.
That sounds awfully familiar to me. Yes. The good food store.
Yes, exactly. So like, you're trying to make it in the back end of the year so that some other months of the year, January.
And all the hassles too with employees, right? I mean, everybody's problems, they don't show up for work, right?
I think it's that it's never as important to anyone else as it is to you.
Yes.
And so like when someone wouldn't show up, I'd be like, what do you mean you're not going to come? But like they had other stuff going on. And so I think that I don't know that I'm the best personality to be like, oh, let's just roll with this.
Well, you had that Tuttle personality. What the hell are you talking about?
What's going on? And so, but the team, the management team and the regional manager were incredible. And a lot of the team members had come up through the ranks of like starting at front desk. And so they really understood the team, and that was really great. And we obviously wouldn't have closed had it not been COVID, but,
right.
And then the products part of the business. So essentially 4 or 5 years into Olive and June. And if y'all can imagine, we have these 3 salons, we have no publicist. We are just like, we are existing on social media, but we're blowing up. Like there's press constantly, socials, we're constantly getting posted.
Well, you did a lot of that, right? I mean, you were very good at that personally, right? Lynn always told me you're just a rock star.
Oh, that's so sweet. And like a tough critic. So I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I had met a few editors and they had said, don't hire a publicist, just you go to New York, come with manicurists, just do nails for everyone. Just talk about what your mission is and like what, beautiful nails for everyone and how you're trying to democratize, like, and elevate this experience. Like, just like be yourself. And so that's how we did it. But like, we had nobody formal in those seats and I was just hustling constantly.
Yeah.
And so, but we had tons of press, tons of like influencers and celebrities coming in, and we really weren't comping a ton of people. It was really like a very much like people loved what we were doing.
Organic. It's very organic, right?
Super organic. So that business is like, that business looks like it's a $1 billion business, and it is not, and it's half the time losing money. So you're like, okay, I've got this brand that I've built and it's so amazing and people love it. And I'm literally not making money. So what do I do? And I think we got a lot of like offers of like franchising and acquisition. And for us, it was just like, well, wait, I built this like really special brand of nails. We're in this category that's really hot. People love nails. Like people love their nails being painted, but the incumbents are pretty stale. How can I take this brand and bring it to everyone? And we were getting a ton of requests. Be in my city, make nail polish, do all the things.
Hey, before you go into that though, you made me think of something. So was your background on Wall Street and your financial background and all that really helpful in your helping to make the decision whether you wanted a franchise and how you grew out and how you raised money and all? Would you say?
Kind of. I knew I couldn't like lose money in the account too much. Like I kind of understood. I was self-funding it for a long time. So I understood that. We brought on a part-time CFO, COO, who was someone that was really, really close to me when we were in finance in New York, who was out in LA, and she kind of took it on as part-time, and she ramped up with me. And honestly, she's a Stanford Business School grad. And she was like, you don't have a demand problem. You have an efficiency problem. Like, this is amazing, but we can't really ever get to a point where you're going to be like heavily profitable. And when I say that, I mean like nail salons are anywhere between 5 and 10% profit. Like it is. And so you can imagine some of those months are super thin, like 20%, 25%. Like it doesn't happen in nails because of the price points.
Yeah. Well, you have a established marketplace, and obviously you add value, but there's only so much you can charge for that.
Totally. Exactly. So you have a ceiling. So you're like, okay. And so she was basically like, what do you want to do with the brand? Because we could sell it or we could franchise it. But and it was also just such a grind because it was 24/7. And so a few people had said to me to do products, and I was like, the world does not need another bottle of nail polish, not interested. But when I had a few conversations with some like very, very smart people in venture that were very, very close to me, in fact, like not looking to invest, just like looking to help me, and like were super tight with me personally, they were like, this brand needs to live in a world outside of just like of an appointment that nobody can get because you're booked up. Like we need, like there needs to be something bigger. And I said, the only way I'm going to do this is if I'm creating something new in the world. Because it just doesn't, I'm sure I got that from you when I was 4 and you taught me that. But that was in my head.
No, but you want to add value. You want to add value, right? You know, you don't want to get paid for sitting around. You want to do.
I don't. It's like a bad family trait. It's
That's
like,
right.
I would like to get paid for sitting around. At some point, I would like to do that.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like my paper route. You know, I just couldn't figure out a way to get to the next level. But you're right. You're right.
So it's like, I just didn't want to add to the clutter and waste of this world. And so I did a bunch of surveys on the category. And what I realized is that, and I'll throw a few stats out just to kind of frame nails. The beauty industry is a $90 billion industry in the United States. In the United States, nails is a $10 billion industry. So it's 10 within 90. So it's already the smallest.
Right.
Hair and makeup are bigger, obviously. And in nails at home is 1 billion. So so it's tiny. So the 3 incumbents who basically own the market, other than a press-on incumbent, but like the 4 incumbents, let's say, Essie, OPI, Sally Hansen, and Kiss. Kiss owns press-ons. The other 3 own polish and gel and all the things. But Essie and OPI dominate that market, and they are in every salon in America. So they don't, and if everyone other than Kiss, which is press-ons, everyone who's polish is owned by a conglomerate, a beauty conglomerate, Coty or L'Oreal, who essentially is not going to be like, oh, let me just like go disrupt this $1 billion space. Right. They don't care.
That's kind of like the stepchildren too, right? You know?
Totally. Like nails becomes this like, and everyone thinks they can't paint their own nails. But when you do the surveys, when you act like you see what the interest is, nails, the interest is through the roof. So if you look at like YouTube, the interest in nails is a quarter of the interest of makeup, but there's 1/30th the content, 1/30th the category. Like no one's delivering to anyone. And when you ask women, mostly women, because it's mostly a woman category, although we do use the word people because we have a ton of men that we love using our products.
Yeah. Right.
But when you ask women, like, do you want to do your nails or would you like them painted every week? 98% say they feel better with a Manny, and over 90% say they want to have their nails done at least every other week, if not every week. So you have all this interest.
And how did you poll, by the way? Did you use a polling company? Did you do SurveyMonkey? What did you?
I used a lot of SurveyMonkey. I think SurveyMonkey is very good, y'all.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
I love SurveyMonkey. And I also used a ton of, like we pulled a ton of industry information. And then we anecdotally polled, but by social and by our email lists.
Yeah.
So we great. Really
So the hardest thing probably for you though was to try, and I know I get sidetracked, but establishing a benchmark so that when the results came in, you kind of had an idea of what they meant, right?
Totally. And trying not to get your own bias into it, right? Because my bias was like, I'm going to teach everyone in the world how to paint their own nails.
Well, Tuttles don't have bias. You know that. Starting with your dad is the least biased person I've ever met.
I mean, my father never let me paint my nails, so here we are.
What?
I now own a nail company, so
what?
I know he thought it was too much.
Oh, geez, I didn't know that. So sorry.
Now you know why I'm here.
I'll speak to him later. Oh, sorry. But okay, so you polled, you got results. You're analyzing the data. You have really people that you trust. That by the way are people that want you to succeed, but aren't necessarily gold diggers. And you are now at the point where when you talk about product, were you already carrying product that wasn't yours in the store, or you're talking about totally self-designed product at this point?
Yeah, so we were carrying many other brands, 20 brands in the store.
Right.
In the salon, like we had on the polish wall, we probably had 10 different brands of polish. And then, we were selling scrubs and lotions and all kinds of stuff. So we had a ton of brands that we were selling. And for every press article, I was basically pumping everyone else's colors constantly.
Right.
We were selling out colors for other brands, which was super exciting. Like I actually love being collaborative. So
yeah,
it was. And so what we did is we said, okay, I think I basically said in the room, I want to teach everyone in the world how to paint their own nails.
Yeah.
And I said to my CFO,
which nobody was doing, right? I mean, people are just supplying the materials and the product, but not showing you how to do it. Right?
No one. Brands weren't showing you because they were supplying the salons. The the manicurists weren't showing you because that was their job. No one was showing you.
Because they didn't really want to show you, right? Because there was no value in them showing it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they just want to sell product, right?
I don't think a manicurist is going to teach you how to paint your own nails, which makes total sense to me.
That's right.
And the brands were supplying the salons. So I think that they were obviously wanted to support the businesses at which they were sold.
Yeah.
I also think that no one, like, some of these things come out of and everyone looks back and says, like, how did this happen? Why didn't I think of this?
Right.
Similar thing of everyone being like, well, wait, why didn't I? But it's not like the easiest thing in the world, meaning like painting your nails is actually easy, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to be like, I'm going to just change behavior.
Right. No, but it is a simple concept. It kind of reminds me, like in the cutlery business, where none of the cutlery companies want to sell knife sharpeners. Because knife sharpeners just make your knife last longer, and people don't buy. They'd rather you threw out your knife and bought a new one than buy a knife sharpener. So it's almost the same thing. You've got this energy in the room, and you broke through that, right? Basically.
Yeah, I really felt like there was so much demand at the salons. That was never going to change. I mean, it's obviously changed in COVID, but there's more demand than there will ever be manicurists, and the manicurist population is not growing for a number of reasons. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Yep.
So the manicurist population is not growing rapidly for a number of reasons. It's super expensive to go to school. It's not the most lucrative job you can do at a cosmetology school, et cetera, et cetera. And so you had this like labor constraint. So you were always going to have 4 to 5 times more demand than you had appointments.
Interesting.
And you had basically women on the coast are participating in nails 40 times a year on average, 40.
Right.
It's like almost weekly. Outside of the coast, they're participating 6 times a year.
Wow.
So if they're on their own 3 times at a salon, like they can't afford it. So you were really just taking a $1 billion category that should be 20 or 30,
Right.
but you were giving that piece of the category that just wasn't participating. You weren't taking anything away.
Right.
And so I felt like this is so obvious, but I do think it takes someone who built a brand in this space, who's super passionate, who actually doesn't have the background that everyone else has. Cause I'm just like, I'm going to do it. Let's go.
Well, you sound so much like I don't know if you're familiar with the book Blue Ocean Shift, but it's
yeah, I bought it.
Yeah. And I'm working with Chan now, and you're doing what big companies are supposed to do, which is really analyze where their strengths are. But how exciting now you identified, a shift in your business, really, and you started making your own products, right? So you actually invented something, right? And a lot of our audience, they're inventors. So maybe you could tell us about that.
Yeah. So, well, I have the spring collection right here so I can show you, but I looked at it like, how hard is it to paint your nails? How can I make this easy? So I took a year off of getting my nails done in our salon and did my own nails. And the first few were a complete disaster. They were really, really bad. But then they got better, and they got better as I learned the products. I went to like every drugstore. I went to every mass retailer. I was like, what is out there? I went to Amazon constantly. I asked our manicurists, like, what do you use? What's exciting? I had them teach me. They thought I was completely crazy.
This is just frightening listening to this. How similar. But yeah, I'm sorry.
I know you like jump in, you learn everything. And I know it's familial for sure.
Yeah.
And I basically was just like, if I can break this down for people, like if I can make it easy, you can do it. And so it was twofold. The first was really painting. Painting is the hardest part. In some ways, it's not the hardest part. In some ways, shaping is, but we don't need to get nuance. People believe painting is the hardest part. Mm-hmm. So I knew if I invented something that would break down painting, it would make it easier. Now, we have, just so everyone's familiar, like we have a cleaner, longer lasting formula. We price it at a certain,
no doubt. Yep.
Thank you. We price it at a certain price point. We hit all the like hurdles of what you need to have. You need to have a longer lasting formula. It needs to be cleaner. It needs to be priced correctly. Okay. So like we hit all those hurdles.
So the content, you have the content down.
Yeah. How do you price it too high, or it's not clean enough, or like it's not long lasting enough, like you're already out of the game. So we created this polish. Took 2 years to create this polish, 2.5. I like to pretend it took like 10 months, but it really took a long time. And so we had that. Then it was like, okay, what is the bottle going to look like? And what is the brush? By the way, it's something we don't talk about it at all, but our brush is like lights out. Like our brush perfectly fans on your nail. It's like painting for dummies.
Yeah.
But then it was like, what is the splash going to be? Because I can tell everyone I have this thing and they're not really going to believe me. But what is the real hardest part about painting? It's your non-dominant hand. You can paint with your writing hand, no problem. You paint with your non-writing hand, you're like, what is happening? It's like my 5-year-old, literally I have a 5-year-old, my 5-year-old painted it. So we created this, I invented this thing called the poppy. By the way, I have like a patent library in the poppy of many different uses, but this is the most rudimentary and the only one that's worked so far. So by the way, I had a whole other idea that did not work, and then we shifted into this. So if you're inventing something and doesn't feel like it's working, a minimum, like the minimum viable product that everyone talks about, it really is like, don't dismiss it, because it really sometimes is like your business.
But what's cool is you knew exactly what you wanted. A lot of time inventors just sort of invent and they don't have an end game, but you knew what you wanted. So when it didn't come out right the first time, you reworked it, right?
Totally. Like I wanted this to be a much more complex system of like versus like handle and bottle. Right. I wanted it to be a whole system. It didn't work. Basically, like the microfluidics didn't work. And so then it was like, how do you dumb down to something that like is on the market now? And so this poppy, it's silicone rubber, it's a handle. It's a universal polished bottle handle. And on the top of like SC or OPI, you can just like slide it on. On ours, you take off the overcap and you slide it on.
Oh, so it's just for use on your.
You can use it. It's universal. You can use it on Etsy, OPI. Most handles, unless they're a crazy handle, you can slide it on. A lot of people have overcaps, so you can slide it on the inner cap.
Yeah.
The idea is we worked with obviously industrial designers and engineers. It basically balances your other hand. It gives you more grip. It stabilizes it.
Right.
And it gives people confidence. The idea is that like people, when they start using it, they're like, oh, I understand what is happening here.
Right.
Because if you feel successful.
And you patented that, right?
We did.
Yeah.
The other thing we came out with, which is like just more, is basically the Manny system. It comes in like every season, it comes in a different box. There's obviously stuff in there with all the tools. It's everything you need to get a salon perfect Manny at home. That Manny system includes the poppy. So when we launched with the poppy and polish. A month later, we launched with the Manny system. And the idea was like, the Manny system should be your entry point, but we wanted to make enough of a splash with the poppy and like the fact that we're changing the painting game and that we're inventing something. Like there aren't a ton of inventors in nails. So it was important to like be very clear what we were going to be innovative and change the game. Nothing we do is white labeled. Everything is really, really specifically done and thoughtfully produced.
And so now how did you launch? Did you social media, PR? How'd you get it going?
We finally hired a publicist, so that was exciting.
Yeah.
We hired a publicist and we launched on social. And we had built the brand equity for so long. And when we finally before this, we had stickers. We had these nail art stickers, which I could talk about in a second because we did a big collab at Target for them this year that we launched all of this. But we really hadn't gone to press ever and said, we have something we want you to like talk about. Like we have something exciting for you to consider. And so I think that we had built this brand equity. I'd done all these interviews. I'd done so much for so long that when we came out with something that was patented, that was going to solve painting, the like press went nuts.
Wow. Now, was it a specific type of press in your industry? Okay. So you kind of knew who to go to.
Yeah. I mean, we had hired a publicist at that point, so we definitely had help.
Yeah.
But it was all beauty press, basically.
Right. And so now I know. Just to digress here, you used to like fly back to New York, right? And you interned at like a People magazine, and you already knew people, right, in the city and.
Yeah, I mean, I knew people obviously. So Lori's wife, my aunt Lynn had gotten me many an internship at People magazine, at Teen People actually. I knew people, but like I didn't know the editorial world, like who was writing. And the funny thing is that it turns over every 10 years.
Right.
So, but what I learned is that, I had a ton of finance friends when I lived in New York. Like that was my world. I worked in finance. I had all finance friends. And when I moved to LA, I think that I have like a big creative side that I'd never really tapped.
For sure.
And never really thought about. And so, and I did a little acting in college. Like I did some stuff, but Yeah, when I was a theater minor, when I moved to LA, it was like when I first was like, oh, there's this like side of me. And so when I met a bunch of editors, I actually loved them. Like they were a
Yeah.
personality type. It's very,
You figure,
very,
you fit in, and
yeah, like very curious, very like into products, like into the things I was into. And so it was a natural fit for a long time.
You ever in any of Joey Anderson's movies at Colgate?
No.
Okay. He was
Oh
a
my
great film producer, wasn't he, at Colgate?
Yeah, but like before my time.
Oh, that was before.
Yeah.
No, but
Like
but
Super Troopers?
yeah.
Troopers before my time.
No, I was
It's like,
thinking of your dad's friend Joey Anderson, but anyway,
oh,
who filmed the movie Orion Bereft where they were scaling down the Dana Art Center at Colgate? You didn't ever see that movie?
God. I
Oh.
like, I feel like I'm 40 and old, but this makes me feel very
No,
young.
that was probably a little out of your time, but I don't think Joe. I think he went into insurance sales after that. But being LA based though, right, puts you right in the middle of this. You were in the right environment, the right community, the right people. That's where all the business is being done, right? I mean, how valuable was it being located in LA and having your shops there? Would you say?
I think the shops were incredibly important. I think the ability for not only our regulars, but also influencers and celebrities, people before Coachella, we had a ton of high profile people coming and really loving the experience. We worked really hard, not for everyone from like me to the front desk team, to the managers, to the manicurists. Like,
so these like Hollywood stars that would come into the shop and get the nails done.
We've had celebrities in the salon. And I think what's exciting is that we were really dedicated to the experience. We were really dedicated to the privacy and to the serenity and to the Zen calm nature of it. And also this like awesome Manny when you left, or Petty. So I definitely think it helped being in Los Angeles, and it definitely helped having, the support of people. Our first collection was a collection of 6 polishes. We named them after women who had supported us in the salon, everyone from our first ever client to Mandy Moore. So it absolutely helped us that Mandy was incredibly supportive of Olive and June. And it was our favorite place to go. So, I'm totally indebted to the people who lifted us up and were incredibly supportive. I think we care so much about the experience, the products, the customer service, anyone has a problem. Someone DM'd me just now and said, I'm having a problem with the primer, me and 4 of my friends in Buffalo. I don't know why it's happening, but like, we got to refund it, or we got like free polish or something. So we'll try again. Maybe it's because it's dry. And I was like, let's get on a FaceTime. Like, I'll figure out what's going on with your primer. Like, we take it very seriously. Like, what we deliver needs to work.
Yeah. It's such a great story, because like, that's what we used to do in the food business too, when we had the cooking school and your mom did, and people would call if they'd be in the middle of a recipe, and the whole thing was, we would get on the phone and like walk them through it,
Yeah, because the thing is, when people nail it, like when they get our system, they get the Olive and June system, they have beautiful manis, they last for 7+ days. People complain that it lasts too long. The polish is like too good. I'm like, this is the best complaint ever. Then it's gravy. Everything is good. Like they talk about it, they tell all their friends, but honestly, they're happy.
But it exceeds expectations, and so, but now you converted now. So you've made the shift into the product, and obviously with COVID, it kind of probably sped up the shift a little bit, but you do something unique, right? You go out and really do classes and stuff, and virtual classes. Tell us a little bit about that,
Yeah, so we do. So on Instagram Live, we go just baseline. We go live 4 to 5 times a week. We constantly talk about different hacks, different tutorials, nail art, all the things. We do a Manny 101 every Monday. And then the last week of the month on Instagram Live, we do now boot camp, because we have a pedicure system now. So it's Manny and Petty boot camp. And everything we do is teaching everyone Manny 101, Petty 101, and just really how to do your Manny's and Petties. And we also do Manny master classes. We do some Petty master classes, but people really come in through the Manny system usually. And so we get them very familiar. Your pedicure is actually much easier to do than your manicure. It feels more daunting because people are like, my cuticles, what do I do? But once you've mastered how to paint and like you understand how to use the tools, your pedicure system is actually quite easy. It's just a little less comfortable because you're pulling your leg in, pulling your foot in. And so we do a ton of education, and we give a ton of resource, because honestly, and we have YouTube, et cetera, but we really focus on like more of the live formats, because we're able to we can do it in scale. We can also do it so that anyone can join at different times, but also so that they can get answers to their questions.
Sure. In this virtual environment too, you can reach out everywhere in America, right? So
it's crazy. When California went into its safe at home or shelter in place, I went live every day for 7 weeks.
Wow. So you're going to get those numbers up around in those states, those Central U.S. states, I should say.
Yeah.
Right.
It's our so essentially over 95% is outside of LA and New York.
Really?
We are spread all the way across the country. It literally looks like a population density map.
Wow, what a phenomenal story how you got going. Hey, Carmen, I know that we've got probably some questions coming in. I reserve the right to ask a few more, but why don't we let Carmen say a word or two?
We got a ton of questions coming in. I'm actually trying to separate the ones that you guys talked about and answered. So this is really getting a lot of people interested. So, Sarah, real quick, one of the questions. What kind of issues did you run into when you were designing and creating, say, the polishes or your other products?
So many. And I think that you should just anticipate that it's going to be a total, excuse my language, shit show. And you're going to have to like barrel through the wall. The polish, we probably went on the iterations of that like 10 times. And every time we went back, the manufacturer was like, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine. And I'm like, and we were testing it on customers, right? So we were basically like, well, it's shipping too fast. Like it's not working. And so we would go back and back and back. We also went through multiple manufacturers. We manufactured this in Korea. The US manufacturers just couldn't give us a polish that had enough resin in it that it was really lasting. And the only ways you can get polish to last are a few ingredients, most of which are toxic and you don't want in your polish. So getting more resin in it is obviously a natural resource, but they didn't have access to the best resins. So you have to assume it's going to be a total mess and that you're going to have to keep going and you're going to learn a ton as you go, and don't take no for an answer until you're happy enough. Like, I think there's like our first brush that we launched our polish with, we thought was amazing. It was actually a little too thick for people. They couldn't maneuver it. And so we had to move to a different brush. It's never going to stop iterating. So you don't want to never launch something because it's never perfect, but you want to get something to the point where it's that minimum, it's that MVP where you're like, I know this is going to work and this is good. This is going to be great. And then I'm going to learn a ton and iterate on it. On the Poppy, I wanted this to be a total system, like a click-in system, a totally different idea. And when this didn't work, my brand director had said to me, what if we make it like rubber instead of like a hand, like we just put on top of every nail polish bottle. And I stupidly was like, why aren't you focused on what we're doing here? And she was like, okay, just an idea for like in the future, if you want to use their other bottles. And later when what we were trying to do wasn't working, and I had spent 10 months trying to get this thing to work, I literally called her and I said, should we do that first? Like, should we try that? And she was like, well, I told you, but you didn't like my idea.
God, you're a Tuttle.
Oh, I know. So she now says things to me and I'm like, let me think about if I'm going to like that in 3 months. So it's really important that you look at it and think to yourself, like, it doesn't have to be exactly what you thought it was going to be. The point is, are you hitting your goals? Is it beautiful nails for everyone? Am I democratizing the salon manicure? Am I breaking it down for people? Yes. And I can always do something. There's other parts of the category that I want to disrupt. And I have like version 1, version 2, version 3, because you're not always going to be a lights out. It's just like, it's painting my nails for me to start.
But it's such a valuable lesson because, a lot of inventors are coached to like just throw ideas out there and try to license them. And we always go old school here, especially at UIA, of teaching people, you really got to build something. You've got to iterate it, like you're saying. You got to change it. You got to adjust. You got to see mechanically what's working. I mean, you got to stay involved, Sarah. You sound like you were just 24/7 all about this until you got it right.
I mean, I still am. But also, I think if you're doing something you're super passionate about, I think if you really care about it, like you don't stop. I mean, like Worry, like his children obviously know about Olive and June, and I'm emailing them being like, can I send you that?
I know. I'm getting this from them as I said, Sarah on the show. Sarah, we love Sarah. By the way, Sarah, we have board members of the UIA that when I announced that you were coming on, were saying, "Oh, we use it, and our daughters all use it." I mean,
I love that.
it's awesome, and they're watching today. So
I love that.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. I'm constantly like, what can I do? How can I help you? Like, these people in Buffalo, I'm like very concerned about their primer situation. I think I'm obsessed with it. Like, it's so fun for me.
I clearly chose the wrong person to demo the Damier ice cream maker. Honestly,
really?
I could still be doing that today.
I won't tell my brother.
We love Jason dearly. So. Hey, Carmine, I'm sure there's more questions. I got a few more myself. But.
So Sarah, first off, your first answer, you're like an old soul inventor in this young industry. I mean, it's unbelievable the answer you gave. That I know inventors that have been doing this for 20 years that couldn't have given a better answer. So it was awesome. I mean, you've clearly doing it. You're not making this up. So that's what's great about it. I think it's awesome. So some of the questions, like how many products did you need to design and manufacture either at the same time or during this process?
That's a good question. The Manny system is kind of a mess because it's like 12 different pieces, which is logistically a nightmare, which is why we came out with Poppy plus the 6 polishes first and top coat, because it was like, we just got something to market. And then we quickly got, like, about a month later, the Manny system. It depends on if I didn't need the Manny system, if like painting was everything and people weren't going to do the manicures, then I would probably have like waited on that. But the Manny and the painting go hand in hand. And so we had to get them out, but we staggered them for that reason. The polish bottle has like 6 different components. So it can get it depends on what you're making, but it can get pretty intensive. And I think if you can stagger them from a marketing perspective, it's just easier logistically. There were like 3 people working on this. Like, it was a very tiny team. It was like me and then and a couple people internally and then vendors. So it definitely was a lot of just like pushing.
Are you still making everything overseas, or you source it from different locations and then package it here in the
50,
US?
50. It's like 50-50. It depends on what it is. It depends on pricing. It depends on quality. It depends on, we obviously really care about who's making it. The manufacturer in Korea who makes our polish, and then a separate manufacturer who makes our stickers are fantastic humans in the world. So we make sure that like, how's everyone getting treated? Like, we're constantly doing audits. So about 50-50, but the vast majority of our products that we sell is polish, and that's made in Korea.
And are you, I mean, there's such small bottles. Do you bring in by container, or do you ship in different, in other?
Yeah. We have we have thousands coming in on every. Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting.
Korea, I do several products in Korea. They're a great country. The people are great. So yeah, Korea does good work.
The manufacturers that we work with are absolutely fantastic, innovative, thoughtful, considerate. It is absolutely not, if you are looking to make the cheapest product, it is absolutely not a place that I have found makes the cheapest product, and for good reason. That's why we make our products there. So it's definitely more expensive, but it's worth it because the quality is lights out. I mean, this polish is better than any polish in the market, and it's because they stuck with us. I mean, God bless them, because I don't think they wanted to.
Yeah. Now, do your competitors manufacture there also, or
they manufacture in the United States? But the thing is, like, some of the resins that they're importing in Korea, they're not going to import in the United States. And we've gone to the US manufacturers because at times, like, it's been really, really hard. If we get backed up, we're not with like the biggest polish manufacturer in the world. And so at times we've been like, they've called us, or we've gone to them and said, like, could you do backups of this? Like, just so we have like another, and to be honest, the importing of the resin just isn't, they won't import the same resins. And what matters is like the polish lasts. And I'm not going to throw formaldehyde, and I'm not going to just buy some cheaper toxic chemicals to put in the polish that no one might be talking about now, but in 10 years they might be talking about. Like, that's not of interest to us. So we're really, really lucky that we have a partnership. We have an exclusive partnership. That's something that I would definitely suggest for everyone. When you get big enough, you have that exclusive partnership, so that you don't have someone that's going to be like, oh, Korea, I'm just going to go find all the polish manufacturers and rip them off.
What about
it took us a long time to find them?
Now, what about on the distribution side of the supply chain? So you go directly to consumer primarily, but I think you're also at Target, you said?
Yeah.
Is that your only retailer, or are you at other retailers? Or
We're only at Target. We're exclusive at Target. We have been, this is our second year exclusive at Target. Last year we had 14 SKUs there. This year we have about 30 almost.
Wow.
We have an end cap launching, so it'll ramp up, but
Great.
we about tripled our SKU count there. Vast majority of our business is direct to consumer. But a bigger percentage this year will be Target because it's scaling, which is exciting. So fulfillment wise, we have a fulfillment center because we have thousands of orders every day.
That's in California?
It's not, it's in the East Coast right now. It will be moving back to California. We've done this a million times. So anyone can DM me on Instagram if they don't want to talk about it, because I don't really understand fulfillment centers and why it doesn't feel like it's easier, but we're moving back to their California center just because frankly, it's just better for our mix. We have a ton on the West Coast. A vast majority of our orders are like Texas and like California, but also it's their main headquarters. And so we're just getting big enough now where we have to be at HQ. But I actually really like being in the East because then we get orders to my old friends faster. But
well, it is amazing. The fulfillment of merchandise in America is an amazing, worth a show in itself to watch things.
Well, when everything got shut down, I know it definitely is.
Yeah.
When everything got shut down, I thought fulfillment centers were going to get shut down. Thank God they didn't. But we've also, the last year has been insane because we're so crazy about making sure that the workers are being taken care of, right? That if you're close, that's when you get COVID.
Well, now there's, I have a friend that works at Amazon that got COVID, and then there's a big investigation going on there now. Now it's kind of tough, but hey, listen, people, in my book, I have a chapter called the 30 steps of going to market directly. And the whole fulfillment process is an important part of that. And it's really an eye opener. It's so funny, Sarah, because you're going down so many there and far more successfully than me, but you're going down so many of the roads that you evolve. You kind of start off in retailing, you kind of start for your stores, employee, and then you start shaking your heads. Where am I going next? Where am I going next? So, eventually you'll write a book and retire. So no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, your lips to God's ears. Although I think we were talking about this before we started this, that we can't stop. I'm not able just to chill.
Well, that's a big part of it. Look, if you go to the beach and you can't sit still, then then you
should be an inventor. Here we are.
You should be an inventor. Should keep going. And
here's our support group.
No, it's so true. And you know what? It's great. People are living longer, and there's so much to do. So there's plenty of ways you can give back. But right now, you're learning it's so valuable what you are learning firsthand, and what you're sharing today, and what you will be able to share someday about telling people how to do it the right way, because most people don't do it the right way. You've been blessed with a bunch of things, and it's your hard work and tenacity, but it doesn't always work for everybody. It's sometimes they get into arenas or fields and they pursue things that, aren't saleable, and they just sort of, but you're making it work, and your story is really valuable. In fact, I want to get you on USPTO has a on women inventors, and we got to get you as a speaker.
I would say, listen, I think it's so important to acknowledge the fact that I've had immense privilege and in this world. And I've been, I grew up with a dad who said you can do anything. And I think that many people
except paint your nails.
Except paint my nails. By the way, thank you.
This is the one thing you decided you were going to do.
Thank you for that. No, I think it's and also just being white in America, I have immense privilege, and I know that, and I'm super grateful for it. I also think it's so it's on me to make sure that I am giving that privilege and that kind of pep talk to others who might not have that as well. And then we're all lifting each other up. I think I'm very, very grateful for that. And I feel like what we've done, what we've created Olive and June has been super democratization, like an actual real democratization. I'm very, very grateful that we've been able to do that, because it's not like just adding CBD to your lotion, it's a real democratization, which I'm super proud of. But I feel it very strongly that it's a ton of hard work. It's also I'm incredibly lucky, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And hopefully I can have an impact not only on nails, but for other women and women of color as well, to actually, so we can all lift each other up. I think it's just so important.
Well, it's so well said. And, only 12% of the patents issued in America are issued to women. We're
I
operating.
can only imagine like what that percentage is for women of color.
Yeah, and the whole, we're probably only operating at 25% efficiency on our whole ecosystem in terms of involvement, and that's why I serve on the NCAI and other boards to try to get people, invested in more STEM training at younger ages and engineering backgrounds and all. You're so right about that. So as you've got a lot to do right now, knock them dead, but someday when you're ready, that's the next step for you, I think.
I generally think that like, I don't think if I hadn't had a dad who like saw himself in me and was like, go do it, do anything, go like do anything. I don't know that I would have that. And if everyone in the world could feel that, what this world would look like, so we can lift each other up and really be empowering to everyone. I think that's a fantastic thing. Thank you for having me.
Well,
what a fun interview.
Yeah, well, your dad is extremely proud of you, as am I. Your dad is one of my best buds in the world, and he's been brilliant and wonderful to me as an older brother too. So, but really, it's so wonderful, Sarah, to have you on, and thank you kindly. Really, it's been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
great show. It's been great. We've had some unbelievable questions. Our viewership is really good. We've had people thanking you on our YouTube channel. They see that one woman.
Our library. Everybody will have a chance to watch this who didn't watch it live, right?
No, it's been great. We have a couple of people thank you. One woman has 3 teenage girls. They all use your product. We've had calls. I just got a text from my QVC contact wondering if you had plans to go to QVC or HSN. It's been an unbelievable show.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
All right. Well, stay warm out there, Sarah, and keep, go get them. Knock them down.
Thanks, y'all.
Oh, very cool. Very good. Hey, Warren, real quick. I know we got, for the next show, we have branding on, right?
Yep. We just keep going. We have some great people coming on, and we've got higher level product development. And then we're going to have federal court judge Susan Braden on to talk about issues in patent litigation and the small claims patent court. And we just have some really great shows coming on. But that was really special for me. I hope it wasn't too emotional. But Sarah's a great young person doing great things, and really appreciate her taking.
No, what a great guest. You said it was going to be good. That was it. The information, is unheard of how much knowledge she has already. She's super young. She's going through this process. And I mean, like I said, she sounds like an old hand inventor. Her answers were right on the money.
Well, she's a tenacious worker too. And you can see, she tried a bunch of things, and she's changed and adjusted. What she really didn't get into a lot was, the effect of COVID and how it really threw their business into a loop. And she had this other backup plan, but they shifted on a dime. Mm-hmm. And it's really engagement and getting out there and doing things firsthand. And, not just coming up with an idea and mailing it in. We're talking about, really developing. You heard her talk about the polishes. She wasn't satisfied till they hit a certain level. She sources from places that other people don't. Mm-hmm. Quite unique, her running this down and making it happen. A lot of passion involved there. And that's what we're all about here at the UIA. That's what I'm about. That's what you're about, Carmine. That's what separates us. And that's what the lessons that we're trying to teach people, that this stuff is not easy, and it's not simple, and it's not it's a lot of hard work. So, and the fact that she's came on as a woman and a successful woman, highly successful. I mean, this business is exploding now. Is really, I think, I just really appreciate what you do.
I agree. I thank everyone for watching. Please tune in next Thursday where we talk about branding. We're going to have another great guest. I thank Sarah Tuttle for coming on. What's her full? We just say Sarah Tuttle, right?
Sarah
Because
Gibson,
really,
Sarah Gibson Tuttle.
Well, yeah, you told me to just say Sarah Tuttle, but I won't say that.
No, Sarah Gibson Tuttle, and and she's.
We thank her for coming on, and check out her website. Awesome website. I forgot to mention that. I mean, oliveandjune.com. Awesome websites. Really, really great stuff they're doing. I mean, they're really covering every little piece of the business world. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
very cool.
She's already scooted out of here, so obviously she's going on to the next meeting.
Yeah, she said she had to go. I can't believe it. I'm glad she gave us the time she did. So all of you listeners, thank you for tuning in, and we really appreciate it. Please go on out to Google Play, iTunes, go to our UIA TV YouTube channel, leave a comment, make sure you join in, become a subscriber. We really appreciate it. And join the UIA. It's free. We had a lot of great information out there, and we will catch you next time. Mr. Warren Tuttle and I on UIA TV. You all take care.
Thanks, Carmen.